That's the goal. That's the goal as we age. We want to age in place, and we want to maintain our highest quality of life possible, safest way possible.
What we're getting ready to talk about right now is everything, quite frankly, everyone should be doing that are simple little things that we just don't do.
Yeah. Or you realize it too late.
So real quick, your background again is what?
Yes, physical therapy. So I've been a physical therapist for 16 years, and my entire career has been with the geriatric population. They hold a special place in my heart. There's no filter. They tell you what they want, and they're very appreciative of any advice or improvement that I can make on their lives.
So what are our topic generically is fall prevention. What are some of the main things that come across your desk that are preventable, that are those little things that, again, we don't think about until it's too late?
I would start with the shoes you're wearing. Are you fully supported? Are you wearing one of those like slippers that you just slide in and you don't have any heel support? Because that increases your fall risk. If you have a bunch of area rugs in various locations within your house or your apartment, night lights at night, so when you have to get up and go to the bathroom, we don't want to switch the lights on, but if you have little night lights strategically placed throughout your house, it helps you prevent a fall.
But I love my rugs. I love my throw rugs. Why should I get rid of them? I love them.
If you can't pick your feet up or you drag your feet, you're going to stub your toe and then you're going to fall. If you love something because it has a memory or something, put it in a location that you don't have high traffic area. Put it someplace else that you can still see it and enjoy it, but you're not trying to walk over it. Yeah. When we age, sometimes we don't pick our feet up quite as well, or we wear shoes that are the improper size or not enough support, so you start dragging your feet. And a lot of times in therapy, if I can hear that foot drag, then I automatically think, okay, we have a fall risk. So let's look at the type of shoes you're wearing or the size of the shoe, things like that. But if you have that area rug there and then you have the wrong shoe size or the wrong footwear, your fall risk increases. And we all know if you start to fall, that just goes down that spiral of more and more medical issues. So you want to prevent the fall instead of falling and then figuring out, what can I do to prevent the next fall? Because once you have one fall, your percentage of falling again just goes through the roof.
Well, and do you have any, because again, sometimes our loved ones can be very particular about things.
Yes.
Do you have any kind of communication strategies that you would suggest for loved ones to be able to kind of help turn the thought process? Or just get rid of them. what do you recommend?
Usually, once we start talking to family members and patients, and we start relating them into why we're thinking what we do, they're usually very open-minded, and the rugs are being replaced, the night lights are being put in. I haven't run into too many people that don't want to remove something because their mom loves it, but then you start to talk about falls and they're like, nope, I'm good, we'll make that adjustment. I can always pull up the data that you can find online, or I'll send them a resource if I have to, but 9 times out of 10 we don't normally have to go to that next step. The caregiver always wants to do what's best for the patient.
Well, even when you and I had our initial pre-production conversation on the phone, it's like we started talking about rugs.
Yeah.
And there was a rug that is in my mom's place that I tripped over 2 or 3 times, and multiple times before we talked.
Oh.
Multiple times before we talked. And then and you just get frustrated with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a point worth bringing up. It's like, if you're tripping on it,
it's bad.
It's bad.
Yes.
And your loved one's going to trip over it.
Yeah.
And you get frustrated and you kick it back. It's almost out of habit. It's like, but you actually do need to kind of retrain your brain to start looking at your home or your loved one's home for potential
Yeah.
problems.
You know, as we age, sometimes we end up giving our loved ones assistive devices such as walkers or canes. Well, if you just have the patient walk over that rug and that assistive device gets stuck or flips the rug over, then they're more willing to accept, okay, maybe that shouldn't be there. Now, there are certain rugs that are on the safer end, the ones that don't have such a high ply, lower to the ground, and you can tack it down with like the tape and the adhesives that the stores have, but you're still increasing that risk. So why allow something there that is going to increase the risk for something harmful to happen?
And there's a cost benefit analysis here too. It's like throwing away a rug costs you nothing.
Oh yeah.
Tripping over a rug.
Oh, we don't want to talk about that.
And causing some kind of damage.
Yes.
A little bit more than nothing.
Yeah.
In time and in money.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't always get injured with a fall, right? Sometimes you just have some bruises here and there. Your ego might be hurting a little bit. But once you start to fall or have frequent falls, the percentage just goes up so much faster. Why wouldn't we want to try to prevent something than cause harm?
All right. Well, so let's walk through a house. Let's walk through our house and identify some potential hazards. So, just entering the house. Okay. I pull up to my house. What are some things I should be thinking about?
Can you enter it? Can you pick your feet up high enough to get up the steps? Are your steps 8 or 10 inches? Can we break that down and make two smaller steps to cover that larger step? Can we put a handrail in or a grab bar at the door frame to help you pick your feet up? But you also should be thinking about what door is the safest door to enter your home. Because if you drive, obviously you want to park in the garage so then your car's not out in the weather element. So how is that door set up compared to your front door? Once you're inside the home, you need to worry about what direction is my door opening? Is it coming out at me? Or can I change it and have it swing into the home so I'm not trying to hold a door that's moving and trying to go up the steps? Do you want me to go through each room?
Yeah, let's go through each room. So let's go through the living room. We're in the living room now.
Usually living rooms have those famous throw rugs, that we can get rid of. But also, what is mom or dad or your loved one's favorite surface to sit on? Is it one that's squishy and low to the ground, and when they sit on it, we've all seen that. Your body kind of just engulfed in the chair. It's harder for them to get out. They have to scoot out of the edge of the chair, then they can't get up, or it takes multiple attempts to stand. Can we change their favorite sitting surface to something that has a little bit more space, open area? The high traffic areas that you travel on a daily basis should be your major focus. Where is the remote? Where is the light switches? Everything has a home, and you want it to be in that home, because if it's dark or you start to have memory problems, you can't locate the items you want. So always have your TV remote right next to your favorite chair. Maybe purchase a recliner that has a firmer surface, sitting up a little bit higher, or you just have more support for your back and your armrest.
Are there simple devices you can get to help you get up off of a couch and off of a chair? I mean, or is there?
So you could, I've seen them in catalogs, but I've never used them. Where they're like a springboard, where as you start to stand, it'll then have you come up into a standing position. Obviously, a lot of people as they age, they get those lift chairs, those recliner lift chairs. But that's not something that you always want to go into right away, because you don't want to give them things that are going to make them less mobile. You want them to maintain their mobility. And if you give someone a recliner, sometimes they always use that remote, and then they bring it up all the way, and then they're not using those hip and knee muscles like they need to. And if you're raising all of your surfaces in your living room and you go to the restroom and the chair and the toilet's at the standard height, how do they get off that toilet seat? If they can't get off their recliner without using the remote, more than likely they're not going to be able to get off the commode.
decluttering is probably important in the living room as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's, it's hard. As we age, we love to hold on to all the things that we need. But really, you need to look at what are the things that I need and what are the things that I want.
Because the stuff that's laying around is stuff you could
trip over.
Yes.
Yeah. A great idea would be like if you, as the caregiver, walked around the home with the walker or the assistive device or a wheelchair, can you yourself get through all the right doorways? Can you navigate the home successfully? And then if you can, then that just sets up your loved one for success.
And I assume cabling, extension cords, all that stuff too in the living room.
Yeah, you want to make sure that everything is close up against the wall. You don't want things sticking out. We're getting close to Christmas, right? So you got the tree lights and all the things and all those cords that people can trip over. Move things so that the extension cords are long enough to reach where you want to reach. You don't want them going across the room.
Okay, so we're in the living room now, and dining room, kitchen.
Okay, the dining room and kitchen. We can start with the dining room. So what is the chair you sit on when you have your meals? If it's harder for you to get out of it, can we get a chair that has armrests so that you can use the arms to help you stand? As we age, we can't just rely on our legs anymore, and it becomes a full body workout to stand up from a standard chair height. So let's get some armrests to help them stand up. If we're in the kitchen, again, area rugs, but we've already talked about that. Where are their most commonly used items located? If you always are making coffee every morning, let's make sure that the coffee maker is easily accessible. Let's make sure the coffee is easily accessible. If they always use certain frying pans or pots and pans in the kitchen, let's not put them all the way to the ground, or let's not use our most frequently pantry items all the way super high in your kitchen. Let's move everything to shoulder height level so that your loved one doesn't have that risk of fall of reaching down low or having to reach up high. My least favorite thing is step stools in the kitchen. They, as we age, they think, oh, mom can just step on a step stool and then she can reach the fine china at the top of the kitchen cabinet. Well, you're already putting your mom at risk for stepping up on that smaller base of support, and then she's reaching out of her base of support. Let's not do that. Let's help mom.
Going into the bedroom now.
Okay.
What are your concerns in that room?
If you're someone that has to go to the bathroom frequently in the middle of the night, can we change the side of the bed that we're sleeping on so we don't have to walk around the bed? Do we need to put a bed rail? There's bed rails that you can buy to add to a bed to then help that ease of getting in and out of the bed. Is the bed too high? Do we need to buy a smaller box spring or get rid of the box spring and just have the mattress so it's an easier height to get in and out of it?
See, now that's a prime example of something I think that most people don't think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just so used, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, people just get used to their patterns and their behaviors. Yep. But mom's always used a step stool to get, or a step to get this china out of the kitchen. And a lot of it has to do with reprogramming. Yeah.
You got to retrain yourself as to what is the safest option for me. I can't tell you how many times we've gone and done a home safety visit, and the patient will you go in the bedroom and they'll have 2 steps to get onto a platform to then get into the bed. It's like no handrails. They got a step, then you get into bed. Well, let's get rid of the box spring, or let's buy a not as thick mattress so that we don't have to worry about those 2 steps.
Still in the bedroom,
yes.
Other than we drop things down.
We need to night lights. Let's get rid of the area rugs again. Where are your shoes located? If you have slippier floors and you need to have more stable slippers when you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, where are they located? Always having things located in the same location all the time. Where, if you're someone that you're frequently receiving phone calls at night from the kids because they want to make sure that you're okay and you're going to bed, well, let's make sure there's a nightstand there for mom. Let's make sure the cell phone or a phone is located right there so she's not rushing to go answer the phone. Or, make her know it's okay if it rings 8 times before you get there. I don't want you rushing to the phone. I can't really think of anything else.
Thinking about my grandma, she would always rush to the phone.
Yeah.
Always rush to the phone.
Oh, no. Nope. I always told mine, don't worry about it. You get there when you get there. I'll be here waiting for you.
All right. Bathroom.
Bathroom. That's probably the number one place for falls. Start with the toilet. They do have toilets that are already sitting at a higher height that you can swap out the commode if you don't like the idea of a raised toilet seat. They also have like 10,000 different options and things that you can add to the toilet to raise the height, or grab bars. In the shower, do we need to put a shower chair there, or a bench that extends past the tub so that you can sit on the edge and then swing your legs in? Can we have a handheld shower head? Instead of always having to stand for 10-15 minutes, get a bench, sit down, and then you have your handheld shower head to clean yourself in the shower. What about the bottom of the tub? Make sure that you have a mat that helps you keep your footing in there. Make sure it's not sliding around. There's grab bars that you can add to your shower that you can hold on to and then help yourself step into the tub. Obviously, there's the ones that you can swap out the tub and put in, like the door that opens and all that. But then you're starting to get into more costly adaptations.
Like grab bars, don't they have some of them that I don't know, they're like suction cups or whatever?
Do.
So I mean, they're relatively inexpensive.
Yes. Obviously, I would probably have someone else install it to make sure that it's sturdy. But there's so many options. You can go to a drugstore, or you can look online, and they have all these options, and you can always return everything. It's okay to buy 5 different ideas and then return the ones that don't work out for you. They have different sizes of grab bars too.
Yeah.
Shorter ones, longer ones. Where's your towel located? Is your towel located close enough to the shower, or do you need to step across the bathroom? Well, let's put a hook right outside the shower so that you can just grab your towel instead of reaching while you're all wet and slippery.
Anything else in the bathroom, like the sink area, the
night lights,
floor? I mean, so the floor is an interesting thing in the bathroom
Yes.
too, because in some places you want a carpet
right
down, because especially if it's wet. So
Yep.
I mean, what kind of recommendations for the floor?
Let's make sure that the mat is sticking to the floor. Sometimes we just refuse to get rid of things and it loses that adhesiveness underneath. Replace it with something that's a little bit more stickier, and don't have the thicker ply. Have the thinner ply, so that way if you have an assistive device or you have a shower bench, it's easier for you to access the shower.
So so we've named a lot of things that can cause a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
What is the typical result of an issue? I mean, do you see usually something normal? Is it usually like knees, hips? I mean, what kind of damage are we? If we don't deal with some of these things, what are some of the potential damages that we're looking at in terms of physical harm? Injury. And again, and the only reason I'm asking, and I'm sure it's a wide scope, but again, I keep thinking this cost benefit analysis. Mm-hmm. It's this. Because I'm guilty of it myself. We're all guilty of it to a certain extent. I mean, there's probably a thing in all of our homes where I constantly bump my head on that thing all the time. Mm-hmm. And all you would take is a screwdriver, 10 minutes, and it would be not a problem. But yet, for whatever reason,
we're stubborn.
I don't have that 10 minutes, and I'd rather just. So if typically for people to take action, there needs to be some kind of cost benefit analysis. So what are some of the low end issues that you have to deal with on a regular basis because of not taking care of the home, and what are some of the high end things that you have to deal with?
Let's say the low end would be just bruising on various parts of your body because you fell and bruised. Or it goes to the extremes where you start talking about broken bones, broken hips, broken arms. We've had people with head injuries because they fall and slip and hit their head. And when we get to that level, sometimes they don't make it back home because we just couldn't get them in the rehab world safe enough to return home because of that injury. as we age, it takes so much longer for us to rehab, so much longer for the pain to go away. The length of your therapy needed is much longer, because you're dealing with all the other comorbidities you have. You might have fallen and broken your hip, but do you have diabetes? Do you have a history of heart disease? Do you have vision issues, hearing issues? Do you have that support system at home? If you don't have a solid support system at home and people that can help you ensure that your home environment is safe for you, you might not ever return back home.
And this is just anecdotal stories, but you could probably speak to it. Is like once you break the hip, then a lot of times things go downhill fast.
Yeah.
Or once you have a major injury from a preventable fall.
Yes. If when it gets to be a certain age and you fall and break your hip, your chances of death in the next 5 years goes through the roof. So if you can prevent that hip from being fractured and you can stay in your home environment, that's the way to go. Everyone, the big phrase in the geriatric population now is you want to age in place. Wherever you're living right now, you want to age the next several chapters of your life in that environment, and you don't want someone else to take you out of that environment. So if you make a couple easy adaptations within your home, you can age in the home and the environment that you want to age in.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple things there, and actually before that I jotted down. What if you are alone?
Mm-hmm.
And you have no one to look out for you to help look for some of these things. And you mentioned a home safety visit. What are the options for the individual who's either by themselves or maybe someone who does have a caregiver that just kind of doesn't know what to do or what to look for?
There is resources in our community where we have private agencies that can just come into your home and help you. So you can get a home health aide, and those people can help with things such as like showers or making meals or cleaning. You can get a house cleaner. You can also have home health services come into your home. Talk to your primary doctor if they think you could be eligible or benefit from those services. You could have therapy come into your house. You could have physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy come into your home and help you make those adjustments within your home. And you're getting that advice from a professional that specializes in that. Obviously, you can look online for ideas and stuff like that. But if you actually had a therapist come into your home and give you those ideas, your chance of success is much higher.
Is there someone that you can call? And if the answer is no, that's fine. I'm just asking for myself that you can say, hey, I just need someone to just kind of walk through my home for me. I mean, is there someone you can connect with maybe at your senior center, or I just don't know if such things exist.
I think it would be a valid try to call the senior center in Bowling Green. I mean, there's such a great resource in general. They might not have your answer, but they can give you the right number to call. You can also ask your primary doctor. I think as we age, it's important for you also that your primary doctor also is very knowledgeable in the geriatric population, because if you are older, you're going to have multiple other comorbidities. So you're going to have a lot of other medications that you're also taking, and all those medications can counteract. But your doctor can also give you some ideas, some companies that they would recommend for home health agencies or private agencies that could come into your home and help you.
I think that is a very important point, because it was something that was actually recommended to me in my family life as well with my mother, is that as she was older, it's like, yeah, she loves her primary doctor, and her primary doctor is great, but he's not a geriatric doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to switch over to a geriatric doctor because, again, like you said, they're just more it's just more in the wheelhouse of
mm-hmm.
where your loved one, or in my example, my mom, it's just where she's at.
Yeah.
And
you would never take a 2-year-old to a doctor that didn't specialize in pediatrics, right? So it's the same thing on the other end of the spectrum of life. If you're geriatric, you need to find some people that specialize and can support you in the stage of life that you're in.
That's a good example. Another topic I wanted to touch on, and this one is Probably a little sensitive and tough, but it's pets. Pets in the home.
Yes. Oh man.
Because this is, in many cases, especially if the loved one is to a certain extent isolated,
Yep.
it is their only companion throughout the day.
And they talk to them all day long.
Talk to them all day long. There's a lot of love and a lot of benefit in that relationship. But also, if you have a pet that's down on the floor, that's little, or maybe it's a big one, too big for you.
Right.
How dangerous of a trip hazard or a hazard is a pet, standard dog, cat type situation?
I would be lying if I told you that I never had a patient that did not trip over their animal or their pet is the reason why they became injured. It could be anything from your tripping over the dog leash when you take them out to go to the bathroom, or your cat scratched you and then that skin becomes infected and then it becomes something that, escalates very quickly. If you have to have a pet, it's always better that you've had it for a while instead of introducing it later in life when you're already not very mobile. But if you age with the pet, the likelihood of you two living successful is much higher. Also, you might need to start calling upon your neighbors or the grandkids or your kids to help you with things like taking them to their doctor's appointments or giving them their baths, because you can no longer get on your hands and knees and, wash them in the tub. There's dog walkers out there that you could hire. If there's someone that gets antsy-pantsy and needs to be walked around, they can help you too. There's a lot of resources out there that I just don't think people realize that they're out there. And more than likely, if you start talking to your friends or other people that are living in that same chapter of life as you are, you start to get ideas and you bounce ideas off of each other.
Well, and quite frankly, that's part of what we're hoping to do with this bridge series that we're doing is having some of those conversations, because it can be a very isolating conversation even amongst the family, because there is some stigma that comes with aging that we have, and wanting to protect the dignity of the people that you love and things of that nature. Sticking with the pets, again, it's such a tough topic. But I think you also mentioned when we talked our pre-production meeting, if you do introduce a new animal, make sure it's an age-appropriate animal, not necessarily a puppy.
Yes, something that's already potty trained or close to it. They're out of that hyperactive stage. They're more chill, more just loving, and they're not all jumping all over the carpet and everything. You did mention like bigger dogs. I mean, that's a hazard too. They get super excited and they jump on you, and you can't maintain that balance, and you're increasing your risk of falling when they come to jump on you, or they jump on your lap. I don't like the idea of getting rid of pets, and usually I don't recommend getting rid of them. We just find other ways to help you. Like a cat, there's electric litter boxes that help you so that you're not bending over taking care of the litter box. There's people out there that specialize in walking your dogs or helping you care for your animals. I mean, we live in BG. There's a ton of college students. I'm sure they'd be more than willing to swing over and help someone if you asked.
What would be something, if you could give your 1-minute speech to you have it in your back pocket to encourage a caregiver or an individual living at home that they need to address these issues, what's your stump speech for that?
Let's start with the caregiver. I think the caregiver is very overlooked. There is a thing such as caregiver burnout, and if you yourself are not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of someone else? So a lot of times when I have my patients, I always say, yes, this person's my patient because they're with me, but you're also my patient because I need to make sure that you're still maintaining your health. So when this person is back in their home, you're able to care for them. If we're going to talk about 1 minute, what I would like, gosh, there's just so many things. I would start with proper shoes, making sure they're easy to put on. They can actually tie them if they have shoestrings, and make sure.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to stop you in your speech, but that's. I'm glad you brought that up. What about shoes that don't tie? Do you recommend those or not?
Sometimes we do. They do make elastic shoelaces that you can tie your shoe, and then they're made where there's a little bit of stretch so you never have to untie them or tie them back up. So if you want shoestrings, that is an option. They come in all colors too, so they can match your shoe. You just take the original laces out and replace them with the elastic. But the ones that are out there that don't have shoelaces, as long as you have a proper fit and you're supported at the ankle and the heel, then yeah, let's go for it. They make the ones where you can stand and just slip them on now. Game changer. Because you don't have to bend over and try to, use your long-handled shoehorn or any type of adaptive equipment to put your shoe on.
Well, again, because these are simple things, it just occurred because I've started thinking about my mom again. And because we kind of did switch to the non-tie shoes just because they were faster, to be frank with you. But then there's also, if they become untied, you could trip over them as well.
Yes.
So, and then there's the bending over and again, all these little risks. I'm sorry, I interrupted you during your stump speech, but that just popped in my head. So your stump speech to the person to engage in these issues.
Okay, so we want proper shoes. We want to make sure that your foot and your heel are fully supported. We don't want you walking around and dragging your feet. If you have an assistive device, let's make sure it's at the proper fit. A lot of doctors will suggest you walk with a cane, but they don't ever tell you what side to hold the cane on. It should be on the right hand, should be in the left hand. 9 times out of 10, everyone puts a cane in your right hand, but that's only going to be important if the injury is on the correct side of the body. I'm not going to go into that. But you want to make sure that the assistive device is set to the correct height. You don't want it too low and then you're bending over. You don't want it too high because you're supposed to be using that to help maintain your balance. It shouldn't be throwing you off. My next advice is to stay mobile. Keep moving. You don't need to be going to the gym and pumping iron and all the things. Let's just get the steps in. Let's take mom, take her to the mall, take her to the store. Let's walk around. There's simple, basic seated exercises, standing exercises that you can do with the arms and the legs so that you're still maintaining the strength that you have right now.
My guess is that you're never going to run out of patience.
No.
But your preference would be to meet and see these people in your community and not in your office.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. You wanna prevent ever having to come into my office. Yeah. I always say when we do discharge someone or we end therapy services, I hope we never see each other again, unless it's at the store or out in the community. I don't want you having to come see me again. But if something happens to you, I'm always going to be here for you. But yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about the success stories when they come to you. Tell us a little bit about what it means to give someone back their mobility and their freedom.
Oh man, that's an emotional topic. One, that's why I chose to work with the geriatric population. There's something about helping a resident or a patient get back into their own home environment that's just so meaningful to them. When you become one of our patients, sometimes you're at the lowest of your lows, and your loved ones are too. And you're just trying to walk them through and guide them and tell them it's okay. This is what we're going to do. These are the steps. We do these steps. The goal is to return back home. And when they do get to go home, they just want to hug you and love on you. But the best stories is when they do end up back home and then they just swing through our office, nonchalant, didn't call ahead of time, and they're just showing us, hey, look how we're doing. or their loved ones will come in and tell us the success stories. That's what's the most meaningful part for us.
So whether we're talking about the process of going through therapy because of a preventable hazard in the home, or preventing it before it even happens, we're really just talking about quality of life and freedom, though, aren't we?
Yes, that's the highest, that's the goal. That's the goal as we age. We want to age in place, and we want to maintain our highest quality of life possible, safest way possible.
Anything that we have not touched on in our conversation that you think is important? If the answer is no, that's fine, but I always like to wrap things up with making sure that if I didn't bring it up or didn't come in the conversation, there's something that's on your mind.
I don't really think so.
I think we covered a good bit.
You know, I think the important thing is that if a professional gives you advice, they're not coming from a bad place. They're not coming from a place where they want to take away your pet. They're not coming from a place of, we don't want you ever to return home again. They're giving you the recommendations that they feel professionally is the best fit for you.